Welcome into Jags A.M. I'm Kainani Stevens. Brian Sexton and John Ogier are with me on this Wednesday. It's week 11 of the NFL season. Time to talk Jaguars. Things haven't gone the way we expected this season, but we are remaining hopeful here on Jags A.M. So start out with big thing number one. We are remaining hopeful, Brian. When we look at this team, there are things that are good about this. We're staying positive in this room for now. I demand it. What's something you're hopeful about for this team?
Well, listen, there's 7 games left, right? I mean, I get what has happened the last 3 weeks, and I understand what's in front of them with the Lions this week. But if I'm hopeful about anything, it's that they get Trevor Lawrence back after Thanksgiving, where there are some winnable games for this football team. They've got the Colts. They've got 2 games against the Titans, the Jets. There's a chance for them to finish this season. It won't solve the problems, but it will give them a chance to play at a higher level and perhaps give us something to enjoy before this season is done.
Well, this is right up my alley because
Mr. Positivity.
I am nothing if not a cockeyed optimist. Look, and Brian's right. There is hope. I think the real thing, all kidding aside, is that this team for 3 weeks has played very well, or very competitively against playoff teams from the NFC. All the stuff about a lot of quit, that storyline in London, hasn't even come close to being a storyline in the last couple of weeks. This team has not given up on it. Josh Allen talked Monday about still believing, and I think they do. So they have hope. I think there's a lot of hope for some wins, for some positive stuff going on. There's just not hope for the playoffs because it would take, I don't know what you call it, a miracle. You're the religious guy, Brian.
Yeah. No, I am. A novena, as we would say in the Catholic Church. It would take a novena to get them there. And I'm willing to say one, but I don't know that it's...
Don't waste it.
Yeah, I'm not going to. There's something else to be hopeful for, and that's that there's some young talent on this team. Now, that's clearly not enough, Kai. But when you look at a guy like Trayvon Walker, you see what's possible with Brenton Strange and Tank Bigsby and Brian Thomas Jr. I mean, you want them over these final 7 games to improve, to get better, and that requires a lot of effort. And as John just said, they're not quitting.
I think that's important to mention too, because this is the point where drafting and developing can definitely help, especially if you're focused a little bit more on getting that young talent out there no matter what. Our second big thing today is going to be changes. Now, going forward, that doesn't mean that they have to do everything the same way they've been doing. John, if we're looking at changes, whether it's getting some more reps for the younger guys, doing things a little bit differently on offense, because what could it hurt at this point? What are you hopeful to see change going forward?
Well, I think you're at the point of the season where the change happens organically. You don't have to force it because you've got injuries that sort of force you in certain directions. I don't know what's going to happen with Trevor this week. So if it's Mac Jones again, I think you have to look at what was done last week, figure out what he can do well, how much, I don't know if you have to limit things, but you have to figure out what works in that offense and change in that direction. As far as major personnel change, Brian, this is always the point of the season. We've been through some of these.
Yeah.
It's always the point of the season where people say, well, just play all the young guys. It's hard just to do that because if you play guys who you know are not ready to do that, it can bring everything else down. So you have to balance playing all the young guys with still being able to function as a team, right?
Well, if you say you're just going to play all the young guys, you're basically saying it doesn't matter whether we win or not. You can't play that way. You talk about no hope. You've got to be able to stay within a framework. I wouldn't give you the obvious. I would like to see them figure out a way to just force feed the ball to number 7. I mean, they didn't stop throwing the ball to Justin Jefferson on Sunday. They targeted him 9 different times, and everyone has their focus on where number 18 is when they play the Minnesota Vikings. I'd like to see them adjust the offense. I mean, I understand why they didn't do it early, but now we're at the point, he is so explosive and you want him to develop. I would like to see them kind of force feed the ball, figure out a way to get it to him. The argument could be, well, he wasn't fully healthy. Okay, well, you've got the bye week coming up soon. You're going to have a stretch of 6 games to finish the season. Figure out a way to feature that guy.
While we're on the subject there, Kai, I think the reason they don't is you saw what happened on Sunday when the Vikings were force feeding. 3 of Sam Darnold's picks were in Justin Jefferson's direction. Mm-hmm. When you got a young quarterback who you're not sure about, which Mac Jones the other day played like that, there's a little bit of a hesitancy to force that because all of a sudden you're asking for picks. But you got to get him the ball.
I mean, listen, I get it, and I'm not saying everything has to be a deep shot. I mean, there are other shorter, different routes. There's different ways, and I'm not trying to tell Doug and press something they already know, but you asked about change. I would just like to see him become that focal point, and there's got to be a way, because kind of going forward, he's going to get that attention. You're going to have to work to get him the ball. It's going to take some effort strategically to get him the ball, so why not work on that now?
And he's going to have to know how to play through it as well. So hopefully they find a way to mix him in against Detroit, no matter who the quarterback is. So that comes to our final big thing, which is beware. The Lions, one of the best teams in football right now, looking like Super Bowl contenders. They had their off game this week against the Texans. So what can the Jaguars do to try to go in there and get things done on Sunday, Brian?
Well, listen, you realize they're 8-1 for the first time since 1954, which might surprise people. It was before John and I were born. That's 70 years ago. 70 years. They have won 7 in a row. And I watched a game that they played against the Cardinals earlier this year, and I was just so impressed with the way that their offensive line was down the field blocking in the run game. There were 2 or 3 times where the runner was caught up, Montgomery, and big offensive linemen just came in and shoved him down the field. They play a certain way. They don't just want to beat you. They want to make a statement. Every single Sunday, they want you to know that you are leaving with a loss and their complete and utter lack of respect, right? They want you to leave feeling as if they took everything from you. I kind of like that mentality, but you better be ready because they play hard every single play.
Yeah, the Chiefs are 9-0 and Super Bowl champs, so they deserve to be like on top until somebody beats them. But if you're asking what the best team in the NFL looks like right now, the best team in the NFL is the Detroit Lions. And because of the reasons Brian talked about, watching the game Sunday night, it struck you that even when they were down 16, even when Goff threw 5 interceptions, it always sort of felt like they were playing downhill. They're really good, really physical. They know how they want to play. Look, Brian, I respect your whole hope thing this week, but this is this is as tough a lift as the Jaguars will have this season. Sure, there's hope, but this is a really, really tough matchup.
Without a doubt. And I loved Jared Goff's comment after the game. He was asked about throwing 5 interceptions and not letting it get to him. He goes, 5 interceptions? He goes, I've been to the bottom before. He was discarded by the team that drafted him even after he took the Rams to the Super Bowl, or he was a key component of getting the Rams to the Super Bowl that year. He says, I'm not going to let this bother me. That can't stop me. I've been through worse. Listen, that resilient mentality, that no matter what mentality, man, that's why I think that they're capable of beating the Chiefs and knocking them off, because they've got it all right now. They are playing at a high level. They're playing physical. They can send the ball down the field. I mean, even without Aiden Hutchinson, their defense is playing well, and they've got that sort of an attitude from their quarterback, like 5 interceptions, no problem, hold on.
5 interceptions. Good to bounce back from. All right, we'll talk more about the Lions and a little bit about what the Jags are going to do this week coming up after the break.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Surf Pro. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they bring the same dedication and precision to restoring your property as the Jaguars do on the field. Whether it's water, fire, or storm damage, their highly trained professionals are on call 24/7 to make it like it never even happened. Surf Pro, your local leader in restoration and cleanup.
Are you ready for a taste bud touchdown? Well, Jags fans, if you're at the bank and craving a snack that's shell-shockingly good, look no further than Luray Peanut Company's boiled peanuts. Picture this, you in the stands, cheering on your Jaguars, and in one hand, a bag of piping hot boiled peanuts. With original or Cajun to choose from, they're so delicious, you'll wonder where they've been all your life. So grab them while they're hot and get back to the game. And as always, Duval. Blu-ray boiled peanuts, where every nut is a winner.
Hey Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why they've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Cheer on your Jaguars as they travel to Detroit to take on the Lions this Sunday at the official away game watch party at Mr. Chubby's West Side. Indulge in the biggest and best wings in town with appearances by Jackson DeVille and The Roar. You'll even get the chance to win autographed items and game tickets, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow Jags fans. Mr. Chubby's Wings, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, and during the game. Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Jags A.M. brought to you by Fields Auto Group, Jacksonville's premier luxury auto group. You can head over to fieldsauto.com to check it out.
This or that. This or that.
Welcome back into Jags A.M. We're going to do a little this or that today. We are operating on Wednesday here with not a full amount of information about the week, exactly who we're going to see at quarterback. So we're going to talk that out a little bit. Trevor Lawrence dealing with a injury to his non-throwing shoulder. He did not play against the Vikings last week, and Doug Peterson wasn't quite obvious with whether he was going to play this week or not, saying they'll see as the week goes along. So if it's up to you guys, do you want to see Trevor this week? Will we see Trevor after the bye? When do you think we will see Trevor back?
I think the most logical is that we would see him in a couple of weeks. I mean, if you think about it, if you get him to the Texans game, he's had a month, right, to get back, and that probably makes sense with a sprained AC joint. If it's sore and he takes hit after hit after hit, which quarterbacks do, you'd like to spare him that. My answer is I want to see him back on the field the minute he can be, right? If that's Sunday in Detroit, then I want to see him.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he plays Sunday, because usually how these injuries work out is if you've got a bye, just like Brian said, you can get him a couple of weeks. Look, I think I want to see Trevor back out there. I don't know that it's a slam dunk to see him back out there if you get mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, because if an AC joint, this whole surgery thing, I have no idea if surgery is
we're not doctors.
But if surgery winds up being necessary, then I think you want to have it done as soon as possible for the next off season.
Yeah.
So I don't know any facts about that, but I think that will have to be a discussion point in the conversation about Trevor Lawrence. And one thing, Brian, I've gotten some emails questioning Trevor's toughness about this, which might be the most absurd line of thinking I've ever heard, and I've heard some absurd stuff.
Well, you sit next to me.
Oh no, you're good. But 5 times, just to clarify, 5 times in the last 2 years, this kid has played through stuff where there were probably people around him saying, don't get out there. So toughness and leadership for this guy, whatever he is or isn't, he's tough. Well,
let me give you the flip side also of why you don't want to rush him back. You don't want him to re-injure it and then need surgery, right? Because the last thing you want is him delayed in returning for your off-season program. We're already talking about that, but you don't want surgery to be something that causes him to not be able to fully work through the off-season. So it's going to be a matter of how they manage that.
Now that doesn't mean you shut him down if healthy. If he's healthy,
he plays.
Play, because it's the NFL and you do that. But there is such thing as being realistic with risk and injury. So it's it's something that I think has to be a discussion point as they go forward.
Let's look to the defensive side of the football. We saw them play one of their better games last week. And also, we talk a lot about the shift changes that they've been doing. Some players, there has been, John, as you mentioned, things go along, you start changing things a little bit. We've been seeing them play a lot more zone when they originally wanted to play a lot of man. And now we're seeing some of the play times going up. Boye Oluokun playing 100% of the snaps. We haven't seen that out of barely any of the linebackers all season long, which has been unusual. So when you're correlating, maybe saying, hey, that was one of our better efforts and we had some of our better players on the field most of the time, is that something you should continue?
Look, rotate the defensive line because you have to a point. Everybody back seven, I've always thought you play them if they're your best players. But, and to their credit, they seem to do that early in the season, trying to stay healthy and available. Maybe now that it's mid-season, you get away from that and just play your guys.
The Jaguars defense the last 3 games has been on the field an average of 38 minutes and has given up an average of 425 yards. So whatever they've been doing hasn't been good enough. If that means more guys play more snaps, then so be it. I wouldn't think anything is above change. And you understand that Doug Peterson, when he hires Ryan Nielsen, he hires him for a reason and allows him. And Doug has said, he's not a defensive guy. He lets Ryan do what Ryan does. But they obviously don't have the players to do what he wants to do. And isn't it an old axiom? You don't do what the coach wants to do. You do what your players dictate you can do. And they can't run Ryan's scheme. Or it just doesn't work. Whichever one of those is the answer.
Is there any defensive players that you want to see more of that you haven't seen enough of yet?
Well,
or you'd like to see their time go up, I guess.
Listen, get more Ventrell Miller, please. I mean, the more I see 51, every time he hits someone goes backwards or sideways. More of him, please.
Yeah, Dewey's the obvious one in the backfield. You haven't seen him because he's been hurt. Awareness and just football stuff. We just talked about 2 guys like that.
Yeah.
Ventrell Miller and Dewey seem to make plays. And so I think seeing those, but I'm kind of with Brian. I don't know that and they haven't been hiding greatness.
Yeah.
Right.
No.
Although, I don't know that they're going to all of a sudden come off the bench.
There is one guy, though, Jordan Jefferson, the defensive tackle, the 4th-round pick. Every time I see him do something.
There are flashes, yes.
Yeah, and you're starting to see some physicality from him. I've been impressed with him.
He probably fits that category we just talked about.
Yeah, I think that's
guys who play.
Yeah, right. And so along those lines, I'd like to see Mason Smith on the field again before the season is done. There's plenty of time. There's 7 games over the next 8 weeks. Let's see number 94 back on the field and see if we can spot the traits that made him a 2nd-round pick and a guy that we all talked about during training camp as being, a promising, hopeful guy for the future.
And maybe, I don't know if they'll do this. Maybe try Jerry on the outside.
Yeah.
Not if you're going to try guys, because he's got Jerry Jones. He has some elite traits, some really good traits. Maybe you get a look at what he can do on the outside, although he's a really good nickel.
Just go back to the Hope thing for a minute. We've talked about a lot of young players. Ventrell Miller and Jefferson and Smith and Jerry and Jones. And we haven't even mentioned the guys on the offensive side of the ball. There are some good young players that you want to see. You want to see their role increase. That may not mean more snaps, John. That may just mean you do different things with them.
Absolutely. Lots of stuff to keep an eye on. Stay with us here on Jags A.M. We're going to go around the AFC South when we come back.
We need to define a great deal in today's new home market because the so-called great deals that you find on every corner just aren't the same as the incredible opportunities you'll find with a new Dreamfinders home. How about 2.99% in year 1 in one of Dreamfinder's 15 communities across North Florida? Now that's a great deal. 2.99% interest rate in year 1 and a beautiful new Dreamfinders home. Visit dfhsalesevent.com for our largest savings of the year on move-in ready homes. That's dfhsalesevent.com.
Check this out, the new iPhone 16 built for Apple Intelligence. At Verizon, you can get it when you trade in any phone from one of their top brands.
Any?
Any.
Even if it's 4 years old?
Yeah.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk?
Yep.
Even if it's 4 years old and I drop it on the sidewalk, then a scooter runs it over, so now it's not just old and cracked, but shattered?
With Verizon, the answer is always yes. Trade in any phone from one of our top brands for the new iPhone 16 with unlimited Ultimate. Plus, get a new iPad. Trade-in terms apply. See Verizon.com for details. Apple Intelligence coming fall 2024.
Want to cruise down an open road in high-performance style? Visit JacksCorvetteGiveaway.com for a chance to win the ride of your dreams. A brand new 2024 Corvette Stingray Coupe. With its sleek design and cutting-edge technology, this vehicle is built for speed and luxury. So what are you waiting for? Enter to win at JacksCorvetteGiveaway.com today. No purchase necessary. Open only to legal residents of the states of Georgia and Florida. 18 years of age and older. Some restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. Ends 11/15/24. For entry information and official rules, visit gotoeventlink.com/rules.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Cheer on your Jaguars as they travel to Detroit to take on the Lions this Sunday at the official away game watch party at Mr. Chubby's West Side. Indulge in the biggest and best wings in town with appearances by Jackson DeVille and The Roar. You'll even get the chance to win autographed items and game tickets, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow Jags fans. Mr. Chubby's Wings, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, and during the game. Hey Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why they've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly.
For 11 years, Dreamfinders Homes have been proud to call themselves the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all of the available inventory and go Jags. We welcome you back into Jags A.M. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the AFC South and what's going on around and some of the future opponents for the Jaguars as well. We haven't played the Titans yet this year. They're struggling as well at this point. They got Will Levis back at quarterback, but didn't help them as they fell to the Chargers this week. We've seen some quarterback issues with the Titans this year as they had to go with backup Mason Rudolph for a while. Then you didn't know if Will Levis was going to come back in. We've already seen how the Colts have been dealing with Anthony Richardson. Interesting to see what the Titans will end up eventually doing with Will Levis.
I think you can bank on the Titans selecting a quarterback at the top of the draft. If there's one they like, maybe Carson Beck from Mandarin High, maybe Shedeur Sanders if that's the kind of system that Brian Callahan wants to run. I don't know, but I've seen both of these guys now, and neither one of them appears to be the answer to me.
Yeah, unfortunately, this feels like there was a time right when I got back here, 11 or 12, where the Titans and the Jags played a couple of games late, where both teams were sort of 2, 3, 4 wins. Feels like it's going to be that. And I think with Will Levis, it does feel like I think he's going to be a guy, it feels like, who goes and he'll get a chance somewhere else because that's sort of how you're doing quarterbacks now. But it certainly has felt from afar like Callahan never really was all in from the start. So it would make sense. Hey, I've seen it. Now we're going to figure out what we want to do.
You know who he reminds me of? Remember Jonathan Quinn? The 6'6" quarterback the Jaguars drafted from Middle Tennessee State back in 1998. You looked at him and you went, wow. And he had a cannon for an arm and he could run like a deer, but he couldn't ever put it all together on the field and always looked shell-shocked despite all of his obvious talents. That's what I think I'm seeing when I look at Will Levis.
Yeah, not to beat a dead horse on it, but it's another situation where not a ton of playing time in college, transferring schools, and you get to the NFL and haven't all put it together beforehand, so now we're learning things at the NFL level, not the easiest place
It's a huge, weird dynamic in the NFL right now. I think you're just going to see it more and more because kids are going to come out not having played and being told, hey,
you're good enough.
Why wouldn't you go?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money. Maybe NIL shifts that back a little bit.
A little.
I'm not smart enough to know that. I'm not really.
Well, some kids will have the option, though, to stay if there's a little bit of money involved, understanding that their best option is more time on task.
Yeah, could be.
We talked a little bit about this off the top of the block, but the Texans took on the Lions last week. We'll play the Texans once more this year. We're playing the Lions next week, and Jared Goff, 5 interceptions to overcome that and still get the win. It's obviously, we've talked about how impressive the Lions have been, but the Texans not looking quite like the Texans without Nico Collins the last couple of weeks.
Well, no Nico Collins, and they're playing without the receiver that they signed from Buffalo.
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, and Will Anderson hasn't played. They still made a game of it, but when you get 5 takeaways, you feel like you're going to win.
Yeah, look, the Texans are good. All off season, people kept asking me, why haven't the Jags done what the Texans do? And the Texans are clearly in a better spot than the Jags. But I didn't necessarily know that the Texans were to be anointed in the off season yet, because they were still sort of putting it together. They did a lot in free agency. And if the division was better, it would be a competitive thing. So they're still C.J. Stroud, the league is, and he's still at that point of having to figure out now what defenses are doing to him, right? And as part of a young quarterback development, he's still there. I think he's going to be very, very good. Already is, but I guess my point is they would have been gettable.
Yeah, well, the Jaguars had a chance to get him in Houston.
Had the Jaguars been good enough to be in that position.
Yeah,
so too bad.
You're playing there with the chance to beat the Texans at the end of the game and couldn't get it done, which has been the story of this season, unfortunately.
Add another thing to the frustration list for us. Stay with us. We're going to talk to you a little bit about what's coming up the rest of the week.
Navigating the current housing market and figuring out your best move when it comes to a mortgage isn't your full-time job, but it's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. That's where the experts at Jet Home Loans get into the game and coach you to your ultimate goal of getting not just the right loan, but the perfect loan for you, the home of your dreams. Jet Home Loans works with you all the way, from application to closing, making sure your game plan is perfect. Make the call to Jet Home Loans and let their team join your team to make your dreams take flight. Visit jethl.com.
Hey Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why they've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Cheer on your Jaguars as they travel to Detroit to take on the Lions this Sunday at the official away game watch party at Mr. Chubby's West Side. Indulge in the biggest and best wings in town with appearances by Jackson DeVille and The Roar. You'll even get the chance to win autographed items and game tickets, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow Jags fans. Mr. Chubby's Wings, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings. Before the game, after the game, and during the game.
When disaster strikes, trust the experts at Surf Pro. As a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, they bring the same dedication and precision to restoring your property as the Jaguars do on the field. Whether it's water, fire, or storm damage, their highly trained professionals are on call 24/7 to make it like it never even happened. Surf Pro, your local leader in restoration and cleanup.
Are you ready for a taste bud touchdown? Well, Jags fans, if you're at the bank and craving a snack that's shell-shockingly good, look no further than Luray Peanut Company's boiled peanuts. Picture this, you in the stands, cheering on your Jaguars, and in one hand, a bag of piping hot boiled peanuts. With original or Cajun to choose from, they're so delicious, you'll wonder where they've been all your life. So grab them while they're hot and get back to the game. And as always, Duval. Luray boiled peanuts, where every nut is a winner.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Jags fans, if you want customized Jaguars furniture for your home, check out zipchair.com to browse all the customizable options. ZipChair is furniture for fans.
Yes, sir, Ski. He grabbed a towel. He was like, "That's my towel?" I said, "Sure is." I love you though, Cam. All right, can I get my towel, Cam? After the game, Cam. He was like, "That's my towel." I said, "Sure is." He said,
I saw you come out. I go, "Bro."
He was like,
that is next level trolling.
He was like, "Josh, you gonna let me get it back?" I said, "Hell no, not right now."
That's true. Josh Hines Allen, next level troll, wearing Cam Robinson's towel to distract him in the game. Loved that matchup. That was something I had my eye on during that game, and it was fun to see.
Yeah, and Josh played well. I mean, he didn't get a sack, but he was around the quarterback.
Yeah, he was your classic case the other day of why sacks are often an overrated stat for defensive line play, because he was outstanding.
Yep.
A lot of pressure.
Who are you guys talking to this week, or what are you looking forward to?
I'm going to talk to Bill Shuey, who coaches Trayvon and Josh, and get a feel for how you attack Jared Goff against the best offensive line in football, because they are, aren't they? The best offensive line in football?
If they're not, I want to see the best.
Yeah, 100%. How you classify pressure, how you attack it.
I am expecting to have Logan Cook on the Ozone podcast.
He's awesome.
And I always love having Logan Cook on. He's a fun guy, gets it, and he's really, really good.
Longest tenured Jaguar now.
Yeah,
since Cam was traded.
Might be the best punter in franchise history.
Oh, I don't even think that's close.
Yeah.
Love that.
Sorry, Brian Barker. He's got an
Brian
incredible leg.
But Logan has been consistently very, very, very good for this team.
Yeah, and he practices those punts. You know, the ones where he gets them out and they hit on the sideline and spin down.
Ball.
I mean, he practices those every single day. He's one of the great guys in that locker room.
Absolutely. We'll be back tomorrow to talk a little bit more about that Lions game coming up this weekend on Sunday. We'll see you then.